Okay, so in this video we are going to be taking you through an overview and an introduction to Artisteer. So if I just click here and open up my copy of Artisteer. Okay, so here we are. So when you first open up, you'll see that you've got the option of a blank template here. Artisteer also comes with a selection of pre-designed templates that you can use and customize as you like. So if you're struggling for some design ideas, then by all means look at the templates and you can use them to generate more ideas, or indeed, as I say, to customize if there's one that you see that would suit for your customers' needs. That can be customized quite straightforwardly for them. So we've got the blank template here. We have a range of pre-designed templates here that you can use. There's lots and lots of different versions, and if you go to the website as well, you can view the samples there. You can sort the templates by what's most popular, by what's newest. I'll quickly open one up. Let's say you were doing a design for a local bakery or cake manufacturer. And you can see here that this template opens up. So you've got essentially a pre-designed site that you can then customize, and you can change the header, the menu, pretty much every element that you see here can be customized, and I'll take you through the process of how to do that. What I'll do is we'll actually design a website from scratch and go through the process. But that's if you want to select a template to customize. You can also say open up a blank project. So if I click here, this opens up a blank template. So obviously very basic, and then you can then start adding the different elements you want and design your site. So I'll just take you through the menu bars up the top here. So obviously this is your file button here, where you can open, create new projects, open existing projects, save your projects, give them a new name. Then you've got an export option, so once you've designed your site you can export it as a website template. If you want to just have a standard HTML template, you can create Blogger templates, or what we'll be doing in this series of videos is a WordPress template as well. You can import Artisteer projects that have already been created. So for example, from the Artisteer website, if you download a sample from there and it's on your computer, you can import it, or if someone else has created an Artisteer project, you can download that and you can import it as well. And you've also got the option to preview your design and see how it would look in a browser. So once you've gone through the process of designing your site, you can click. So for example, if I click Firefox, obviously we've got nothing here other than the basic template, and it opens it up in Firefox so you can see how it looks in a web browser. So just close that. Then obviously you've got your folder options, your save options, shortcuts. This is your first home tab up here, and you have this option here to suggest a design. If you click that, what Artisteer does is it will just go through and randomly select a design and select different elements, and it will create, essentially it will just create a design at random. And obviously it's not always great doing it that way, but you can click it as many times and see what pops up and see if there's any options that you like. For example, you might like that layout but maybe want to change the background. And again, it can be, if you're really struggling to come up with different design ideas, then it can be a good way to start thinking of different designs. You can also suggest different colours if we click here. Again, what it'll do is it will suggest different colours and colour options. Same with fonts. And again, layouts as well. The software allows several different layouts. And again, you can suggest different backgrounds, different headers, and different images. This is your style options. So it's separated into sort of general, corporate, magazine or blog. Here you can create new pages. If you look to the side here, you'll start off normally if you're working from the blank template with a couple of pages here. You can create pages in Artisteer, and the new version of Artisteer actually lets you import content. Previously what would happen was this was only really if you were creating a static HTML site. What you would do is you would create the entire site in Artisteer. So you design the site and then create each of the pages that you wanted in your site, add the content to it, the images exactly as you wanted it to appear, and then create an HTML site from that, and the software would code it all for you. Whereas for WordPress sites, what you'd actually end up with is just the theme, so none of the content that you'd added. But the new feature of WordPress Artisteer 4 is that you can actually create your pages and create your content if you wish in Artisteer, and when you export your theme you can actually export the content as well. It's not an option that I particularly use, so it's not what we'll be doing in this tutorial, but it is an option, and when you're using Artisteer then it's something that you can be aware of and you can play around with it if you wish. So this would be if you want to create a new page, whatever that may be. You've got the options here of deleting pages, creating blocks, so for example in the sidebar here, and then you've got your different options here. Okay, so that's the home tab. Then you have an edit tab. So if we just click into a section within the design here, in fact I actually don't like that design at all, so I'm just going to quickly change the design. Okay, that's not great, but it will do for the purpose of this. Looks a bit more like a traditional sort of WordPress blog actually. But anyway, so in the edit tab here, if I click into a bit of content, you can see that the options appear. So this lets you change some of the styling of the content of your new site. So for example, the styling on the fonts, the option here. So if you wanted to change the font styling, you can do. You can change the different heading styles, different font options and sizes. So again, this is for individual bits of content. If you wanted to create bullet points, then you can do that here, number bullets, indents, all that kind of thing. Aligning the text. Okay. The other thing you can do here is you can create different layouts. So if I click here, you can see that it's got a kind of two row option here. Yep, which is those two there. You can change that to one if you just wanted to, as a kind of one sort of one kind of column option, or you can change various different layouts. So for example, if you wanted that, you would have your top section here and then you'd have 3 columns. If you wanted to have 3 different columns of information on the page, then you can do that. You also have a styling option here as well. So I think this is set to no styling, but you can style the different areas. So if I click on that, you can see now that our top section here, it's got a background to it, and our middle section here is styled. And you can change that and play around with that whatever way you want. If you wanted to make certain sections stand out, and you can also style individual rows and cells, and you do that here as well. So if we click into this, you have your option for your different colours. So you've got different fill colour. And if you just hover over options, it will show you what it will look like before you even click on it. You can select different text colours. You can add different textures. So for example, if you wanted the background to have diagonal lines, you can just, it's very faint, you can just make it out. You can add a border to the content area if you wish. You can change, make it more of a kind of curved. You can see the content area is more curved there. So you can add lots of different styling options to individual rows and individual cells of content. Then we have the option if you are creating your content within Artisteer and you want to hyperlink certain bits of text, then you've got the hyperlink option here, and then you can put in the actual web address there and it'll hyperlink the text for you. So this is all great if you're using Artisteer not only to design the site but to actually add the content to the site and add all your links and the different images you want. You can add video, tables. This is your options for different buttons here that you can add. And once you've created your different bits of content, if you want to check what the HTML for that is, you just click that option there and it'll give you the HTML coding for that particular cell. Okay, so that's the edit tab. So as the name suggests, that lets you edit different sections of the Artisteer template. You know, and you just click into it and then select the different things you want to edit. So that's for the main content. What the Artisteer does is if you click into different elements, so this, for example, this is a header. If I click into that, it takes me to the header option here and lets me style that. If I click here, it takes me to the blocks. Should be the same for here. Takes me to the vertical menu controls, I think. Or at least it should do it. Yep, yeah, different layouts, because I clicked on a page there. So if you just click into different areas within your template, then the tab will adjust at the top there. So what's the edit option? Then the colours and fonts option lets you change obviously the colours. So you've got colour themes here. So there's pre-designed colour themes that you can choose from. So I hope you're seeing just the vast range of options that you have with Artisteer. And everything's point and click. You just click certain different options, select the ones you like. Say if I bring it down here, say we wanted this. It changes the colour for us. You know, we don't have to do lots of different editing, it just does it automatically for us. You can just adjust the individual colours as well. If you click here, you can change certain things about if you wish. So if you want to change the main colour, for example, to pink, say you wanted to change this colour to green, it'll do that. So there's lots of different options, and it's the same with fonts. You can either suggest the fonts, or you can suggest the colours, or you can set the font options for the template itself. So for say for example you didn't like that particular font, I think for this option it's Istanbul, say you wanted Expert, you wanted that one, that'll change the fonts. See the fonts have changed there. You can change the typography, you can change the scale as well, and that'll change the scale and the sizes and the fonts for the entire site, for the entire theme as well. Okay, so that's the colours and fonts tab. Next we have the layout tab. This is where you start to get into more of the kind of designing the layout and the style of your website. So we have different options here. If I just click the drop down menu. Okay, this is obviously a custom layout at the moment. You have basic, if I just click on that, which is just your main sheet without the header. You can select just a menu without the header, where the menu is inside the sheet. This would give you the menu outside the sheet. Then you have again fixed options with header. You can have the header in the menu outside the sheet. You can have the header outside the sheet and the menu inside the header. And the width of the headers and all sorts. I mean, you can really customize just about, well, every aspect of your design till you get the one that you're happy with. Then we have the option here for our header. Again, some of these options appear in two different places, so you've got the option here in the layout, but you'll have this option again in the header section as well. So you can set a margin if you want a bit of space between your header and the top of the sheet. You can select different margins or no margin. You can select to say different positions and whether the header is sheet width or page width. You can do the same for the menu bar. You can choose where the menu bar is located, whether there's a margin, what width it is, where it appears. Everything is customizable. The next option we've got here is the sheet width. So let's say you can choose what width your main sheet is, which is sort of this section here. That's your sheet there. This section is your background, and up here is your header and your menu bar. So if you wanted, you can choose 800 pixels, or say 9, or 1000. Or if you want something more customized, you click here, and then you can select whichever width you want, and you can make it bigger, smaller, whatever width you're after. You can pretty much do. And then you have the option, say, for a margin. So if you want a margin between your sheet and the header, and again you can, there's preset margins, but you can actually set a custom margin as well if you wish. And the same with padding, in terms of the content within the sheet. At the moment this is set for 7 pixels, I could change it to 2 pixels if I wanted less padding, or no padding. Then we have the option here for columns. So again, this is important when you're designing a WordPress site. You want to choose how many columns your site has. So for example, this is a 3-column site. You can have the 2 sidebars on the right hand side, or you can select the 2-column option where you have 1 sidebar either left or right, or you can create a site with no sidebars at all. I think we'll just go with that one. Okay, so there you go. Then again, you can choose what width the column is. So it's set at 200 pixels. You can increase that as there's preset up to 275 pixels. And again, you've got the option to customize the width of your sidebar. You can style the sidebar as you wish. So at the moment I don't think there's style, but you can add a background fill color if you wish. I click on that, and then I can change the fill color if I wanted to make it a different color. I can change the transparency if I wish and make it semi-transparent. There's the option to add a glare as well to the sidebar, so you can add a sort of a glare if you wish. There's pre-designed glares available, and you can also import some if you've got an image or a file, a glare that you want to use. You can import it from your computer and it'll show it here. So there really is lots of different options. Again, you can select the margins, and again here you have the option to add new blocks or widgets to see how it would look, or if you want a specific layout you can do that as well. So that's the layout tab. Content, again we've seen some of these settings before. but again you've got the option of your different shapes, so that's your margin, your padding, the shape of the content, the radius of the content, the fill colour, again transparency, whether or not there's a border, the shadow effects. Again we've got the content styling here, and here you can actually choose the options for example the colour of the headings, what the colour is, text, size, style, whether the headings are aligned left and right or centred, whether there's shadow, and different text options. And you can do that with all your H1, H2, H3 all the way down to H6 tags. Your options for your text on the site, again colour, font, size, style, right down to the colour of the hyperlinks. You know, if you don't want standard blue hyperlinks, you can change the colour of the links to match the design of the site, and you choose the colour for a standard link, a link that's been visited, and a link that someone hovers over. Option for images, you can add borders to your images, styles, the border colour, margin sizes. So again, the options are pretty much unlimited. So it really is a fantastic piece of software, and again you can stylize your quotes. So anything at all, any kind of content styling on the site you can do. Okay, so as I was saying, you can stylize the content here. You've got options here for the alignment of your text, bullets. You can change the image that is used for the bullet points, or you can use your own images if you want to take them, if you've got icons, whatever you want to use. Colours, again, font sizes, absolutely everything you can imagine you can customize. You know, the margin for the left and right, line spacing as well, you can change and set. Then if we move along from content, we've got the background options. So again, at the moment there's no background image selected, so we've got colour. You can change the colour there. There's also an option for a sort of colour picker. So say for example you don't like these colours here, and this is on any of the colour options on any of the different tabs. You have a more colours option, so you've got you can move this about here and select colours, or if you know the hex code of the colour you want to use, you can put it in there. Or you also have a colour picker. If you see here, it's just going over the site. So say for example you're using an image, and let's just, for talking sake, say this and say we like that kind of red colour there. I could click on that, and you see here that the background colour would change accordingly. Or if I wanted it to be white, essentially if I want to colour match anything on the site with another part of it, for example images, then I can do that. Or you can just select different colours here as you wish. So I'll just cancel that. You also have the options for, as well as colour, you can add a gradient here as well, so you can add various different gradient options until you find one that you're happy with, and you've got a gradient option there as well. So I'll just close that. And then you've got background images that you can use. So again, Artisteer comes with pre-installed imagery that you can use. I'll just hover over one just now. And if you want to do, you could use that, or if I scroll down, as well as the images, there's different options here, different patterns that you can use. Excuse me, let's see. So if I wanted a sort of checked pattern, then you can see it'll add that. Further down, there's literally hundreds of options. If I wanted a kind of wood effect, then we can use that. Or if you have a background image that you want to use, then again you can take it from wherever you have it stored in your computer and use that as a background image, and I'll show you how to do that when we come to design our site. So again, there's a from file option there as well if you want to use that. You can also choose whether the background is fixed or whether it scrolls, and again I'll take you through that option later as well. Then you can also add what's known as light effects to the background. You have various light effects here that you can use and play around with, and again you can choose anything from an image from your computer if you want to use that. Then we have our sheet options, which is obviously this section here. So again, width, which we've already spoken about. We can choose different radius, the margin, fill color, padding, transparency. So for example, if the background image is something you want to show through, then the sheet, you can make the sheet transparent so it appears that the text is obviously over the background image. Border colors, and if you want the sheet to have a shadow. Then we have the header options. Again, here you can choose the position of the header, whether it's outside the sheet or inside the sheet. You have different options. You can choose the length of the header, so sheet width or page width. Again, the margin, and again the height. So if you wanted a larger header, you could choose that. Up the way to 500 pixels. You can choose the color of your header. You can choose the transparency. So again, if you've got a background image that you want to show through, you could make the header completely transparent. There's various different effects you can add to your header. So you can add textures. You can add gradients, you can add what's known as a glare, or you can add a mask to it as well. Again, there's different background images for the header pre-built in that you can use. So if you want to use something like that, then you could do. Or again, if you have a header image that you would rather use, if you create a header image, say for example in GIMP, then you can use that as well. And again, I'll go through that when we go to designing our site for our client. Again, you can choose the position of the header imagery. You can choose different effects. You can add images to the header. So for example, we've got this image here. You can add other images. You can move her. If you prefer that, you can delete that one. You can add multiple images if you wish. Yeah, close that. If you can add images from files, or I say they've got these pre-built images as well. So if you wanted to use those, you can do. You can add text blocks if you wish. So if you wanted to add a text block like that, and you can position that. You can change the size of it if you wish. Make it smaller. You can rotate that as well. So you've got lots and lots of, or you can delete it if you don't like it. Lots and lots of different options. You can also add a sliding gallery as well into your headers, and again I'll show you how to do that later on. If you wanted to do that, if you wanted to create a header rather than a static image, you can create a sliding gallery image where several images fade in and out, which is a nice effect as well. So again, Artistair lets you create that and then export it onto your WordPress theme, so that would be the header of your WordPress theme. You can also add flash animation, a simple flash animation that you can add to your site as well. be honest with you, I don't really use that option. Then you can stylize your menu bar. Again, choose the position, the length, the height. You can choose the colour of the menu bar itself, how transparent it is, if there's a border, texture or gradients. Then you can stylize the individual tabs. You can choose various different shapes, different sizes, radius, borders, alignment, font size and font families, colouring. So again, you can choose the colour for the tab that's active, and again, if it has a texture or gradient or border, the colour of a passive tab, and the colour and texture, etc. of a tab that's hovered as well. And again, you can choose the various different levels for submenus, different shapes and colours, different sizes and radiuses, lots and lots of different options. That's your menu options. And then we've got blocks, which is your sidebar options here. So again, you can stylize these. You can add stylizing to, for example, the headers. You can add, see here, you can add a background image to the block, change the colours of the block as well. I'll just move that down so you can see that there, because that's a vertical menu. So see, that's changed the colour there. You can change the header, text colour. You can add an icon to it. You can, as I say, really do all sorts. And you can change the content area, you can change the colour of that, you can add textures and gradients, and you can really style every single aspect of your site. And again, blocks, you can add font colours, link colours, different images for the bullets, colours and sizes of the fonts there, image borders, absolutely anything. And then again, the same for the vertical menu. So if you don't want a menu at the top here, you want your menu to be the sidebar here, then you could style that in exactly the same way. You can choose the position, you can choose the style of the menu block, the area, margins, and depending on the menu block style, you've chosen the radius as well. You can choose the background, header and content styles, and again the styling of the individual sections here. So again, the shape, distances between, height, radius, every option you can imagine, you can do it in Artisteer. And again, the levels, sub-menu areas, sub-items, colouring, absolutely everything. Anything you can imagine you can do, just about. And then we've got the control option here, so this is your buttons. You can choose different shapes of the buttons here. Again, different colours, textures, gradients, text colours and sizing. Your controls, so your checkbox, your radio buttons, all of these can be styled as you want. So you're really creating a really custom, unique site for your clients. And then you've got your footer options here as well. Again, you can choose the position of the footer, the size of the footer and the margins, colours, if there's any separators, different footer effects, imagery, links, text, any footnotes, any images, how they'd be styled, absolutely everything. So that's a quick rundown of your options up here. And the different things that you can do with Artisteer. It really is a fully featured program that makes choosing, it makes designing a site, especially for a local client, very easy and straightforward. You're only really limited by your imagination. Everything's simple, everything's point and click. It's just selecting different options, choosing different design, different colours, different images, and choosing different elements that work well together for your client's site. Okay, so that's, as I say, a quick rundown of the different options. In the next video we'll begin to discuss what sort of information you need prior to starting designing your client site. Okay.